Hello and welcome back to another video. I was gonna wait maybe a day or so to make another coronavirus update, but Khalifi, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. I mispronounced it in the last video, but he comments on a lot of videos and he's been a lot of support. A lot of you have been just so supportive with the comments. Thank you so much. But he said in a comment, can't wait for the next update. So I'm like, oh man, let me go make it. I will go update you all on what is going on with the coronavirus in the United States, but specifically, but narrowed down to my state. Because my state really hasn't been feeling the impact of the coronavirus yet. I'll put up a little map of where I live. I live in the northeast corner of the United States. As I've mentioned before, about a 6-hour drive from New York. And a lot of people in New York are coming down with the coronavirus. You may have seen that on the news. Big city, it's our biggest city, the United States' biggest city. And people live pretty close together. So the virus is spreading. And there were reports of a lot of New York license plates. The cars, all of the cars have a license plate. And I think I mentioned that in a couple of videos back. And there were a lot of New York license plates because they were trying to escape the city and coming to my state of Maine. And of course, probably bringing the virus with them. It's estimated that 1 out of every 1,000 people in New York has contracted the coronavirus. And I had read some comments on Facebook, oh, New Yorkers are coming into our state, but we're all Americans. We're not gonna close the border of my state. The governor was the leader of my state. Every state has a governor, and it's like their president. She came on, her name is Janet Mills. She came on the TV and said, I can't shut the border to Maine, although a lot of people were asking her to keep the coronavirus out of Maine. But here are some of the statistics from Maine. There are 1 million people that live in Maine, just about. And right now we have 142 cases, which when you think about it, it's a pretty small number out of 1 million people. It's up from yesterday. We had 118 cases. So it's definitely building. There are more cases every day. And I think the last time I heard there were 11 people hospitalized because of the virus. Now we are a small state, so we can't have our numbers get too high, which is why pretty much everybody, for the most part, is staying inside if they can. I know my neighborhood, we're all inside. Next door neighbor, she is a nurse. So obviously she has to go to work. Her husband works for Coca-Cola. So he actually has to go to work too, because anybody who works with food or drink, even though Coca-Cola is a luxury these days, you would think pretty much just need water. He is still going and stocking the shelves. That's what we call it when you make sure that the supermarkets have supplies, stock the shelves. So anybody who works in a supermarket is still going to work. But a lot of people, myself, my wife, teachers, we can stay home, and thankfully we still are getting paid. There's one really sad story though. There's a local college in my town, it's called Bates College, and there is a young man who graduated from that college in 2016. So he's very young, he's probably 25, maybe younger, but he is right now in a coma, which is when the doctors put you to sleep. He's in a coma that the doctors made him get into, call it an induced coma. The doctors made that happen because his coronavirus was so bad, they made him just go right to sleep, and he's fighting for his life now. So you have recent college graduate, very young. He was an athlete. You would think he was in good shape, but for some reason, he is not doing well with this. So hopefully he will make a recovery, but right now it's not looking so good. And a lot of young people in this country, probably around the world, think I'll get it and it's not going to really hurt me that much, which is probably true. But every so often, bad things can happen. There was a news story out of California that a girl under the age of 18, they haven't released her age yet, but she actually died from the coronavirus with no known previous illness. So it is sad, but luckily, so far, there are about 65,000 cases in the United States, but still under 1,000 deaths, which when you think about compared to other countries, the mortality rate or the death rate is rather low. It's right around 1%. But at this time, our hospitals are able to take in patients. They haven't become overrun with patients. New York City, as I mentioned, is particularly hit hard. And they are right now building 4 new hospitals right outside of the city to hopefully take patients. They are trying to get 40,000 ventilators for the next couple weeks when they know the number of hospitalized is going to rise. And to get those ventilators, car companies have switched from making cars to now making ventilators. But it is going to be very tough to have those ventilators made and then shipped to New York in time. So people are really rushing to try to have that happen. So we'll see if that mortality rate or that death rate goes up once there aren't enough ventilators to go around. Hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood for good luck, that won't happen. Hopefully all of the ventilators will get there. And if you might not know what ventilator is, but it's something that helps someone breathe, a ventilator. Some other things about my state that have changed. While our cases are not that high yet, the stores have done some different things. For instance, and in my last update, I talked about how you are so close to the cashier when you are checking out. They've put up what they're calling is sneeze guards. Sneeze guards. These are plastic or like a clear, we call it plexiglass. Clear glass, plastic glass, plexiglass in between the cashier and the customer. So hopefully that will help a little bit. Only 100 people are allowed in the grocery store at the same time. So for a very big store like Walmart, they probably have more than 100 customers at a time. They are going to have to make sure that only 100 people enter the store at a time. And at the line for the cashier, there is now supposed to be red tape every 6 feet to let people know how far back they should stand. So if you saw my last video where that big woman was right on my back, hopefully that won't happen anymore. Supermarkets are also opening for hours that only the elderly can shop. And when I say elderly, I mean older people. So I believe it's like Tuesday morning and Thursday morning. For the first hour, the supermarkets are open. Only old people should shop at that time. So hopefully that will keep them safe. I know my mother is 74 and I have a brother and a sister, and we've made sure that whenever we go out to get supplies, and my wife and I are trying not to go out for the next 2 to 3 weeks. We think we have enough food. But when we do go out next, we are going to make sure that my mom gets supplies so she doesn't have to go out at all. She's 74 And at her age, might be a little iffy if she gets it. And when I say iffy, I mean, 50-50. Maybe she will survive, maybe she won't. We're trying not to let her get sick. My wife and I take a walk around the neighborhood every day, unless it's snowing like it did yesterday. I don't know if you saw the pictures. And my mom lives right on that route. So today we stopped, talked to her, but she has a porch, like a balcony on the first floor. We call that a porch. So we make sure that we are always outside and we're never very close to her. And that's how we talk. And my brother lives right next door to her, but he also never goes over. My nephew, my brother's son, never goes over either. They always stand 6 feet apart outside to talk to her. The government also is about a day away from passing a $2 trillion, we call it stimulus to stimulate the economy. So obviously the government has quite a bit of money, and what they are doing is giving $2 trillion back to the citizens, and small businesses are going to be helped as well. So my wife and I think we might be getting about $3,000 or so, but since we're still getting paid from our job, we are going to use that money to help out local businesses who have had a really hard time. A couple restaurants we used to eat at, I know because the restaurants have closed in this area, they can only serve takeout food, so you can't sit and eat in the restaurant, you have to take it out, and their business has been hurt. What we are thinking about doing is buying gift cards to those restaurants, gift cards. So another person can use money there, and we are gonna donate it to a homeless shelter. So of course, if we went to Walmart and bought food with that $3,000, it would go further to help people, but we really want to help some of these local restaurants. And the final thing, 2 cities in my state have been ordered to shelter in place. Shelter in place, meaning don't leave your house. Only 2 cities. I'm still free to walk around. That may change in the next couple days, but there are 2 cities. One is called Brunswick and one is Portland, our biggest city. Those cities have asked their citizens to shelter in place, meaning only leave if you need to get food or if you need to get medicine, or if you are working in an industry or a factory that produces food or sells food, if that makes sense. It's food and medicine that are the 2 big things that will let you leave your house in that situation. If not, stay in. And there are a lot of people that have lost their job because of the whole coronavirus. Many people, businesses aren't open. So it's really going to be a tough time for the economy. And a lot of people who used to work and now don't have a job. So we've been told, things are going to get worse before they get better. But hopefully 2 months, 3 months, much of the country will have gone through this. And then hospitals can be built in the new places that are going to need them. Those ventilators will move to the places that are going to need them. So that's what we're trying to do in this country. Okay, Los Angeles, New York, Seattle, I think those cities are pretty much blowing up. They have a lot of illness. Let them have it. They will go down, and then other places in the United States. That's the plan. Not have everybody get sick at once. And of course, that is going to take a long time for things to get back to normal, but hopefully there is light at the end of the tunnel. Like, we can see it getting better. We just know it's going to get a lot worse. And then hopefully one day, soonish, soon. I put an ISH at the end, soonish. Somewhere you can do that with pretty much any word. Put an ISH at the end and it's like, give or take, it's close. So you could say to someone, what time do you want to meet for lunch? You say, noonish. So put an ISH at the end of almost anything and people will know it's give or take, little over, little under. So hopefully soonish, all of this stuff will be behind us and we can get back to work. I hope you guys are all safe wherever you are watching from. Thank you so much for your support and I will see you next time.